Since 1976, nearly 1,500 Americans have been executed in the name of justice. But today's guest cautions about the human cost of the death penalty and the innocent victims wrongfully put to death. She's Sister Helen Prejean this week on Story in the Public Square. Hello and welcome to Story in the Public Square, where storytelling meets public affairs. I'm Jim Lutis from the Pell Center at Salve Regina University. Alongside me is my friend and co-host G. Wayne Miller from the Providence Journal. Story in the Public Square is an effort to study, celebrate, and tell stories that matter. We do that by visiting each week with the best contemporary storytellers, authors, scholars, filmmakers, and journalists, really anyone using or studying narrative to explain the world in which we live. This week, we're joined by Sister Helen Prejean, a religious sister of the Congregation of St. Joseph and a fierce opponent of the death penalty. Her books Dead Man Walking and The Death of Innocence expose the cost of the death penalty in a way that facts and figures never will. Sister, thank you so much for being with us.
Glad to be here.
You're in town because yesterday you received an honorary degree from Salve Regina University. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, congratulations.
You have been an opponent of the death penalty publicly for more than 30 years now. You've published the two books that I mentioned. Dead Man Walking, of course, became a critically acclaimed film, an opera, a play. We want to talk about all of those examples of storytelling in public life. But let's start with you. And how did you come to be an opponent of the death penalty?
Not always, the traditional Catholic teaching, was that the state had the right to take life, always to protect society. Because, you go back in the days, 1,600 years, you didn't have prisons. And so I never thought about it. In fact, when I was writing, when I was going to high school, they had a portable electric chair that would come to Baton Rouge to kill people who had done a crime in Baton Rouge. It moved around the state to bring the lesson home. Don't do crime here. And I was oblivious of it. I was in my little cocoon, in my little world. This was the teaching, and I just believed it. So, in fact, this memoir that I just am writing, it'll be coming out, called River of Fire, is about the awakening gradually, and it's connected to the gospel of Jesus, that I wasn't connected to people in the margins, of people in poverty, or any that would give rise to violence, and so I was unaware of things. So that awakening that's in the story of River of Fire is the story of how I came to write Dead Man Walking, or how I came to go into the St. Thomas housing projects in New Orleans and got an invitation to write A Man on Death Row, which I did, thinking that I would just be writing letters, and he ends up being executed. And that's what threw me into the fire. I watched his death. His name was Patrick Sonnier, and he was electrocuted to death. And that's the prelude in River of Fire. They killed a man with fire one night.
Mm. How many executions have you seen now?
6.
6. How does that change you?
First of all, it gives you a sense of perspective that I'm only going to spend my life working on stuff of life and death and things that matter. And also to break through the secrecy. See, the death penalty, when it's carried out, is a secret ritual. There have been at least 2 court cases where they've tried to make the death penalty public, and they've been blocked. I got in as one of those witnesses to just see what it really means for state governments to take a live human being and take them and kill them. All the rhetoric that goes with it, the legalities that go with it, about why it's okay to do this. And when you witness something directly and you see all that's involved in it, and you gotta be a witness, morally, for me. And so it has given me a sense in my life. I'm not going to any meetings that are not about things that are important. Keep my eye, on the prize of justice and making my life matter. So write a book about it. Get out on the road and talk to the public about it. It's what I love about your show, out in the public square. After I came out of that first execution of Patrick Sonnier, middle of the night, outside the gates of Angola prison, threw up. I'd never witnessed a human being deliberately being killed in front of my eyes. And then I thought, the people are never going to see this. I got to do something. I didn't know what I'd do. I didn't know I'd write a book. But in Louisiana, you talk. I mean, we talkers, and we have a lot of oral tradition, you know, so I just got out on the road and just started talking to people. Then I wrote the book, came after.